It's disgusting. And you should be damn ashamed of yourself. And I don't believe that. And I'm not going to fight until people like you do not have a place to come on here on my campus that I paid a school to go to and spew your fucking lies. I have a person.
Well, hello everyone and welcome back to the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasir, and as you can see what we have on tap for you folks with that little clip in the beginning, this was fireworks right from the beginning. And it's from one nasty, arrogant, absolutely mean-spirited feminazi, basically. Pro-murder, pro-choice feminazi trying to basically, bludgeon Kristan Hawkins, who is the president for Students for Life. Let's get to that video right now, folks, and I'm going to react to it as well.
Personal question for you. Are your beliefs about abortion and life and conception, does that have anything to do with your personal religious beliefs? Your belief that life begins at conception, that is not shared by a lot of people. It's not shared by me. It's not shared by any of my friends. So I'm asking you, why should your moral belief be the end-all, be-all, and make the law and take away the right to a clean, safe abortion for women to have? And the fact that you can...
Clean, safe abortion. They're clean. They're safe. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, she starts out, okay, fairly decent, low voice, states her question. But within just a matter of seconds, folks, this thing gets downright, absolutely, nasty and mean-spirited. Let's continue.
Sit here and say that the rapist baby, the seed, or whatever you want to call it, the baby that's still in your belly and that it's not born yet, that you should be forced to have that. It's disgusting. And the fact that you can come over here and have an entire career based off of this, and I'm not done speaking, and then you can sit here in front of my friend who was a victim of rape and say that she should have that baby, it's disgusting. And you should be damn ashamed of yourself, and I don't believe that, and I'm not going to fight until people like you do not have a place to come on here on my campus that I paid a school to go to and spew your fucking lies.
Well, I believe in the First Amendment. Do you believe in the First Amendment?
Good comeback.
Do you believe in the First Amendment? I've allowed you to sit here and scream at me for an hour and a half.
I'm saying I don't believe that you should have the right to take away my access to a clean, safe abortion as a human right. I have the right to have the autonomy over my own body. You have the right to your autonomy over your own body. We both get knocked up, have sex, both of us pregnant. You want to abort it? You don't want to abort it? Your decision. If I want to abort it, I'm going to fucking do that. Okay. So who are you to sit here?
You heard that, right? You and I. You have sex, we get knocked up. You want to have a baby? Go ahead. It's your choice. If I want to have a baby, I get knocked up, I spread my legs, I fertilize my eggs, that's my choice. I'm a effing gonna do that. I'm a effing gonna do that. You can't take away that right from me. You can't do that. I'm gonna defend my rights. I'm gonna stand up here. I'm not gonna let you talk. I'm not gonna let you have a career. All right, I pay tuition at this school here in Texas, and I don't want a speaker like you coming down here and telling me women what we can do with our bodies. Want to kill our baby, want to have an abortion, then we should be able to have an abortion. Unbelievable, folks, unbelievable.
Yeah, so if I don't want to own a slave, but you want to own a slave, am I supposed to just sit around and say that?
Do not sit here in front of a microphone and compare owning a slave to me, you white fucking bitch. You have no idea to sit here and say this shit to me.
Ma'am, that is the argument you just made.
No, it's not. No, it is not. That is your incorrect interpretation. That is a logical fallacy. You think you can sit here and go ring around the rosy with me?
Argument. Are you done with your question? Because you asked me like...
You haven't answered anything. You've actually just made a statement and completely deterred my argument in a completely different way. Oh, do you think that you can own a slave? If I want to own a slave, can I own a slave? How can you sit here with a straight face and say that to me? How is you not embarrassed of yourself?
Can you let me answer your question? How can you sit here and deny biology?
Nice comeback. That's what you got to do. How can you come back and basically deny biology? That's a question that has to be asked of these people. You're saying we're the ones, okay, they're denying fundamental rights, a human right. So you have a human right women's rights are equal to human rights, right? Because supposedly women are human, but then nobody can define what a woman is, right? So, I mean, that's a circular argument that keeps going. You ask somebody, can you define a woman? Everybody's mum, right? Lips are sealed, key is taken out, it's locked, lips are locked, key is taken, thrown away. Can you describe to me what is a woman? No, nobody knows. But now when it comes to abortion, then all of a sudden, women's rights pops up. Human rights pops up. But human rights don't attain to the baby. Because these people don't think that it's a human yet. Just a clump of cells. They don't even think it's alive yet, many of them. You have to tell them it's a living clump of cells. It's a living fetus. It's a living baby, whatever you want to call it. It will become. It has a. It doesn't. People say it has a potential. No, it absolutely will become a human baby. It's not a potential. It will become a human baby, which will transform into a human adult, and go through all the phases that the human body goes through. From infant to old age. But these people, they want to deny biology. They want to deny science. They want to deny facts. They just want to scream. And when you're starting to lose the argument, that's when basically the screaming starts. The meanness, begins. The attacks. That's what happens. The verbal attacks. Because you don't have an argument. So voices raised, verbal attacks, you don't know what you're talking about. I've got all the facts on my side. I've got science on my side. No, you don't. You don't have anything on your side. The only thing you have on your side is stupidity, idiocy, moronicity, and being retarded. SIMR, what I call SIMR. Stupid, idiotic, moronic, retarded, which basically categorizes this young woman plus a whole lot more.
Sit here and deny biology. I'm going to ask you the same question.
Do you want me to answer your questions? If you will sit down, I will answer your questions.
I'm going to stand right here and I want you to tell me how you think it's okay to compare owning a slave to having an abortion. It is not even in the same ballpark.
Yes, because
Black people were not seen as people in this country.
Yes,
they were
just like what
enslaved.
you've done time and time again tonight to an unborn child. You have argued.
Unborn child, not living. Black people already existed. They were born.
Unborn children are living,
literally born into slavery.
Would you like me to answer your questions? I can't answer if you keep screaming at me. Do you want me to answer your questions?
I'm waiting.
Or are you going to stop
Are
talking?
you going to answer my question?
Yes.
Or are you going to sit here and look stupid?
Now, some people in the back said, let her answer. Because this, we know what she is. It just wants, she's just not letting, Kristan. And I love Kristan's demeanor throughout all this. I've never seen her raise her voice. She's just very, very even keel. All she wants to do is she points out the fallacies in the people's arguments. And then she actually tells them, look, if you want to argue the point, you're arguing it from the wrong side. You're taking the wrong context and you're taking the wrong point to argue from. You should be arguing it from this side, which is basically human value. What value do we attribute to humans, to the baby, to the fetus, to the clump of cells? What value are we attributing it to? That's where you've got to start, that's where you can begin, the argument. Give me an idea of what is value. And once we decide what has value, then we can proceed from there to move forward. Let's see if this, you know what I mean, woman, just sort of simmers down a little bit.
Quiet right now. I'm quiet.
This is why we have
you're
the
real
First
quiet.
Amendment, so
Am I
they can hear us.
speaking?
So, no. When we talk about abortion, we talk about the living human being that's present inside of a mother's womb. Biology confirms this fact. This is not a religious belief that I hold. This is a scientific fact. The law of biogenesis says like begets like. We know the definition of life, and we know what's inside of a mother is living because that child is growing. You can call the child a fetus, a clump of cells, whatever, but the fact is that entity, which is a member of our human species, because two humans can't reproduce anything other besides a human, is in fact alive. The arguments that you're making to support your extremist beliefs to justify
not
abortion
extremist.
is
It's
that
basic
the
human
child
right that
in
you're
the
trying to
womb
take away
doesn't
from
have
me.
value.
Again, she goes, right? She said, you're extremist, but she goes, it's not an extreme position. No. Snuffing out life, killing a baby, killing a fetus, killing a couple of cells, that's not an extremist position. That's a human rights position. Okay? Wrap your head, folks, wrap your brain around that statement. That it is not, okay, that it is not an extremist position. It's a human rights position. That's where the pro-abortion, pro-murder people basically are coming from.
Argument you're trying to and failing to make in the argument that you really
You don't get to
should be
sit here and tell me
debating
what my
on.
argument is. If you want to
Ma'am,
answer
you
my
said you'd be
question, then
quiet.
answer my question.
Ma'am, you said you'd be quiet.
Answer the
The
question.
argument you're failing to make, and what argument you should be making, is that you believe that the human inside of the womb has less value than a woman, and that certain people get
Yes,
to
it
decide.
does, because it's her
Exactly.
body, her choice.
Exactly.
Her body,
That is
exactly.
your
Her body, her choice.
Yeah, that is your argument.
Sorry,
It is
I'm
not
still
that it's not a human being or that's living, because that's flat out denying biology. We know it's living, and we know it's a human being.
What else would
What
it
you're
be?
arguing is that child doesn't have the same right to life as his or her mother, because you have decided, and what you said during your comments was that if I got pregnant and chose not to have an abortion, I can do that, but you can choose to have abortion because the mother gets to decide the value of that person.
The mother,
that is
it's
exactly,
the mother's child. That's
Bam,
exactly what
you're
I'm
not
saying.
letting me answer the question. That's exactly what
Shut up.
happened. That's exactly what happened in pre-Civil War America. You could choose to assign value to Black Americans depending on what you felt like. You could say, I am against slavery because I know these people are human beings that have value and no one has the right to own another human person. But if I was a plantation owner in the South, I could say, they have some value, but they don't have full value because I deem it. It's a slippery slope. And that is not, by the way, that is not a religious belief. This is a scientific belief that this is a human being. Where we can...
And that's another thing, folks, is that a lot of times people will say, oh, that's because, you know what, you're religious. You know, you're talking about it from, you know, the side of Judaic law or from Christian law or from, you know, Islamic law or whatever. You know, you're coming at it from or whatever type of religious institution that basically holds life dear, which most religious institutions hold life dearly, at an utmost, at a premium. It's all about the human life. It's all about life. So the fact of the matter is that when you start making, if you start making your arguments utilizing, well, it's against our religion. There are a lot of people there that don't believe in religion or in your religion or a religion or a bunch of, they don't believe in that. So for them right away, it's like, you know, you've tuned them out because what you were hoping to ground your assertions on, you were hoping to ground your argument on is something that they don't believe in at all. And people can easily say, I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in, you know, I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in hell. I don't believe in evil, right? How do you counteract that argument? You can't, that's the way they believe. But you can't argue with science. You can't argue with medicine. You can't argue about biology. I mean, people do that, but right away, you say something, for example, you say that only women can get pregnant. That's true. Now, there are people that are out there that say that's not true. Women, men can get pregnant. What? Oh, you mean trans women? I thought they were women, though. So how can men get pregnant if they're trans women? They're women now, right? But you're saying, that does, right? That doesn't even make any sense. That doesn't even make any sense. But the corollary to that will be is that, what did they say? Again, with no support, no evidence of science, a woman who, in terms of it's just one of those things again, folks, is that you come down that slippery slope. So try to, when you're making these arguments, you want to make sure that you're doing it from a scientific side, a biological side, rather than using religion or something else. Let's continue.
Can differ on our belief is the
I ask a
value
question?
we assign. No, there's other people behind you.
I
There's
have
value
actually
that
one
you
more question
assign
to
to
ask,
human
and she
beings.
said I could ask a
That
question
is the
before I leave.
actual debatable question here today.
No,
is what
it's
is the
not.
value we assign to human beings in the womb? Does a human being in the womb have the same value,
Are you gonna
the
stop
same
going
right
round
to
and
life
around and around
as
repeating
other
yourself?
people, or do they not? That is the true pro-abortion argument. That if you would have taken an hour to research, you could have come and made. But you failed
Can
to
I
do
ask
that
my
because you
question
denied
now?
biology.
Can I
Next
ask my
person.
question
No, you
now?
can get behind the line. Back the
You
line.
can sit here and
You can
like
get in the
try
back
and
of the line.
create
She's been
this
waiting
argument
patiently.
and idea that you have of what we believe in and push it back in my face, but it's not going to work. Your
You
little
can get in the back of the line.
logical fallacy, ring around the rosy, will not work on us. You disgust me, and if
All right, she's been
biology.
waiting to speak, ma'am. You're not allowing other women to speak.
And you see all these kids that were out here, obviously. I mean, it wasn't a huge crowd out there or whatever, so it just seems to me that they're probably either in terms of when they were advertising this out there, a lot of people on campus just didn't particularly care to come out. It did seem to be that most of these students that were out there were there probably on the pro-abortion side. I don't think you saw if there was anybody there that was on the pro-life side other than Kristan herself. They certainly didn't see it in the crowd here or whatever. But it just goes to show you again, once again, folks, that when these people start to make their argument from the pro-choice, pro-murder side, the pro-abortionists, it may start off as they're just sort of disagreeing with you in terms of, obviously, okay, the stance that we take, life versus no life. But once you start to sort of dissect their argument and basically tell them, okay, well, what do you call that, whatever that is, that's inside the woman, inside the womb? Are you going to call it a clump of cells? Do you want to call it a fetus? Do you want to call it a baby? You decide on what term you want to call that. And then once you define that term, the question then becomes, does whatever that term have, do you both agree that it actually has validity, that it has value, and does it have life? If you can't come to an agreement on that, you can't go any further. And that's exactly what happens here. Because the whole idea is that once you basically say that there's value here, but there's no value here, and that's why we're doing it. That's why we want the abortion, because we're placing less value on that life than we are on the life of the mother. We're placing less value on that clump of cells or that baby or fetus than another child or people that are already born or already living. They've got more value, this has less value. And that's where you can really watch them do their, mental gymnastics to try to get out of it. But then usually what happens is it ends in a shouting match. It ends in, obscenities. It ends in slurs. It ends in all kinds of stuff or whatever. And that's what happens. So anyways, folks, we hope you enjoyed this video. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. Let us know what you think. Put it down in the comments. I'll leave you with my final thought, which is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.